Hello and welcome to the Statesmanship Project, episode 30. In this episode, I've issued myself a challenge. I'm going to see if I can describe for you State of the Union citizenship in under 10 minutes. I'm going to start now, and we will see where we get. Most Americans think that they are United States citizens, and de facto they are. In reality, they are not. The United States citizen is a corporate entity. It is a corporation, just like McDonald's or Lowe's, Home Depot, those types of things. Whatever you think of when you think of corporation, a business of some kind, a non-real entity, a non-living entity. And what happens when you are born in this country is a birth certificate is created, and they put your name, whatever your birth name is, on it in all capital letters, which is the exact same way that they put any corporation name on any paperwork. Put it in all capital letters because this is the name of a business. This is how you name a business in commerce, all capital letters. And it is printed on 32-pound banknote paper, and that becomes a financial instrument against which all government debt is leveraged. So you are a debt slave. The 13th Amendment of the United States did not liberate slaves in the South. It turned everyone into technically an employee of the corporation. So if you are a lowercase citizen, this makes you property of the government. You are a servant of the government. They are allowed to leverage debt against your future productivity. Knowing this, you continue and perpetuate this idea. When someone shows you a driver's license with your name on it in all capital letters, they ask you, is this you? And you say yes. You have elected to occupy the office of the person, because your name in all caps is a person. It is not a living man or living woman. It is the office of a person. And a corporate person is not a living being. It is a corporation. And so when they write laws and policies and statutes, they apply to the corporate person. And you, by electing to occupy that office, are now held liable for any violations or duties, taxes, whatever that is associated with that person. So State of the Union citizenship is the only way to get yourself out from that corporate bondage. By occupying the office of the person, what you are doing is creating joinder. So joinder is when two different things act as one. This is also what identification is. This is when two different entities are proven to be the same thing. So you, the living man or woman, identify with the picture and the name on the license plate, license card, on your driver's license card, or whatever piece of identification you have. And this creates joinder, and then you, the living person, living man or woman, are held liable for all of the laws, statutes, policies, deeds, debts, taxes, and fees that are associated and levied against that person. And so what you must do is separate yourself. You must eliminate that joinder. You must recognize that that is a corporate entity and it is not you, the living man or woman. And so we do this through a series of administrative actions. Good, 3 minutes and 47 seconds. I'm doing well. So what we have to do, first thing we do, is we let the State Department know that we are not a corporate person. We are a living man or a living woman. And we declare our allegiance to a body of people, not a corporation, because again, state of whatever, in my case it's Ohio, state of Ohio, all caps, is a corporation. United States of America, all caps, is a corporation. United States government, all caps, corporation. These are de facto your government. They are not de jure. So we have to understand the difference between de facto and de jure. De jure is what exists real. It is the actual lawful standing. De facto is what takes its place when the lawful standing is vacated. And through lack of knowledge, de jure status for these organizations has been vacated. Now there is a movement to reoccupy the de jure, and when the de jure is occupied, the de facto must go away. And so you'll hear terms like color of law, versus actual law. And the corporations and your police departments and a lot of your sheriff's departments operate under the de facto color of law. They do not enforce the de jure common law. And these are all very well-developed terms that require some additional understanding, because what we're doing here is peeling back layers upon layers of developed intentional confusion so that you don't understand who you are and what your standing is as a living man or woman. And those are the only two things you can be. You can be a living man or living woman. All the LGBTQ stuff is nonsense. And they want it to be nonsense because if they get you distracted with that, you forget your actual standing as a living man or living woman, sovereign under God, as it was intended in this country in its founding. We have a creator, and he endowed us with certain rights, among which are the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And people will interpret that as saying, well, pursuit of happiness is ownership of property. Well, no, it's part of it, but happiness is the ultimate end in life. And I've talked about that earlier, and we'll probably continue to talk about it later. But I digress. Back to State of the Union citizenship. All right, 6 minutes. So, what we do, we go to the State Department. We apply for a passport, but we do it the right way. We do it by proclaiming, not claiming. We make a proclamation. We declare ourselves as a living man or a living woman, sovereign under God. And there's some very good paperwork that is provided for you through his advocates over with Kelby Smith, which I'll include a link to in this video. And what he will help you do is get a passport as a State of the Union citizen. And what you're doing is you are declaring yourself as a living man or living woman who has allegiance to a body of people, sovereign under God. Because if you simply say, I don't want to be with that, well, they're not going to accept it. They're not going to be like, well, you got to be with something. Not being with anything is not something we're going to accept. So you say, I am declaring myself as a living man or living woman, and I stand under God's jurisdiction with this particular body of people. And then you add your signature to the Declaration of Independence, because that is the founding document for the American nation, not the Constitution. Constitution is a worthless piece of paper. It either allowed the government that we have or failed to prevent it, and in either case it has served no value whatsoever. Continuing, from there, you proceed to find out what an adhesion contract is. And these are contracts that you have signed, whether knowingly or not, that have bound you, the living man or living woman, to the corporation. And these are things like the IRS. There's 3 signatures there that you have to remove. The Social Security Administration, Bureau of Motor Vehicles, marriage license if you have one of those, voter's registration. All of these things are what are called adhesion contracts, and this is where you have signed documentation saying that you are the corporate entity known as the birth certificate or United States citizen. And as such, you are then liable for all of their fees, taxes, policies, liens, all of their garbage. And we remove our signature from each of these. We do it with an administrative default process because they're not going to be like, yeah, sure, okay. And then what this does is it creates a body of law, a court record that serves as fact in law. And anytime any organization, any corporation wants to challenge you on this, you present this to them. And it stands as law. And they cannot touch you at that point. This is like putting on the armor of God. It is legally and lawfully protecting yourself from their garbage, from their nonsense. And you come out of the beast system. This is how we remove ourselves. Now there's some other stuff on the banking end that is also very helpful, and Kelby's program takes care of that for you as well and helps you understand all of these different things in greater detail. I'm not sure if I answered all of the questions, but I may have. And so hopefully you find this information useful. I'm going to be approaching 10 minutes here very, very quickly. So I will leave you with that. Leave your comments, questions, and concerns below. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, have a good day.